An anti-feminist libertarian YouTuber, This Guy T, has made a short video asking whether it's possible for a transgender person to be heterosexual. So I'm going to answer this question for him and for anybody else who's confused by the antithetical relationship between gender identity and sexual orientation.
Can there be a such thing as a straight transgender person?
The short answer to this question is yes. If the answer to this question was no, then the answer would also be no for lesbians and gay men. Sexual orientation means heterosexual, bisexual, or homosexual, and that is based on sex, reproductive sex, so it's got nothing to do with gender identity.
If someone, let's say for example, is biologically male and they identify as female.
Female is not an identity. Chromosomes, hormones, internal and external sex organs determine whether you are male or female.
But they're still attracted to females. I assume that makes them a lesbian.
No, heterosexual males cannot, by definition, be lesbian.
Since they transfer genders.
Gender refers to masculine or feminine. A lesbian is a homosexual female.
So now it's a female liking a female.
No, as I said before, female is a reproductive sex. You know, the one that gave birth to you, that's a female. Sex has no gender.
If it was a biological male and he identified as a female, but he had attraction towards men, wouldn't that make him gay?
Yes, if he was exclusively attracted to members of the same sex, then yeah, he would be gay. Otherwise, he would be bisexual if he's interested in women as well as men.
The new him, or her. Would that make her straight? No, it can't.
Therein lies the problem of preferred pronouns. Where grammatical gender has traditionally been used to refer to a person and their biological sex, we're now being asked to use it to refer to a person and their subjective sense of gender identity.
Because he's still biologically male, so even if that's his natural hormones liking men, so that means he's gay.
The violence that they face due to these homophobic men, hostile to the idea that trans women aren't women because it challenges their sexuality.
How do you tell the difference between a gay transgender person and a straight transgender person?
Lesbians can tell the difference between a heterosexual male and a lesbian. We're not attracted to men. A lot of these heterosexual males who want to call themselves lesbians don't like that, so we get called TERFs, which is a trans exclusionary radical feminist. I never even knew what radical feminism was until I got called a TERF.
Or is transgender just a completely different sexuality in and of itself? Not only an identity, but just a whole separate sexuality.
Within LGBT, there's an attempt to change the definition of sexual orientation to include everyone. What they mean when they say include is validate. LGBTQQ, QWERTY, whatever, has become just so many letters that even gays and lesbians don't know what half of the letters mean. I don't give a shit if they want to call themselves queer or pansexual or whatever, as long as they don't use a term that doesn't mean what they are.
Because people say, transgender isn't about sexuality, it's about gender.
Well, they say that, but then they expect us to widen the definitions of things like lesbian and gay to validate everybody, so they don't mean that. And if these so-called self-defining straight men who fancy trans women were being honest with themselves, they would just say they're bisexual.
I don't know, I'm confused. That one got me. No, I gotta admit, that one fucking got me.
Of course you're confused, T. You're having to perform these mental gymnastics so that you don't upset your mates. The reality is, you're either gonna be homophobic or transphobic in this scenario. The transphobia that they claim is you misgendering people or not including people is just made up. The issue here is the destruction of the English language. We can't actually talk about material reality anymore because we have to worry about people's feelings and their subjective sense of self. The US State Department evaluate all different countries because they basically run the world. They've looked at Iran, making gays and lesbians have gender reassignment surgery. They've actually redefined gender reassignment surgery as gender confirmation surgery. America, the country that is funding the EU's trans lobby, really pushing this in America, blatantly been behind the decision in Argentina to write gender identity into law so that anyone can declare themselves the opposite sex. America is homophobic, mate. If we can't talk about the fact that gays and lesbians are getting killed, we can't help those people. We cannot defend their rights. And if men can't accept that they're bisexuals because they fancy effeminate males, what does that say about the West? These are all things that I'm glad that you've raised, and I hope I've answered your questions. Hit the subscribe button and upvote my video if you liked it. Feel free to ask any more questions.